What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you. It is Wednesday afternoon. I hope you guys and gals are doing good today. I'm doing great. It is starting to get really cold here in the upstate of South Kakalaki. Well, colder than it normally gets around here. We are supposed to get some wintry weather starting, I believe, after lunch on Friday and then continuing all the way into Saturday morning. Snur. Yeah, 2 to 4 inches accumulation, depending on where you're at. Now, they must be serious about it because they're already out putting the stuff on the roads. It's sand or a salt mixture or something to keep the road from being so hazardous, especially on the interstates. Evidently, they think it's going to do something. Normally, when they call for bad weather, it's never anywhere near as bad as they say it's going to be. But we'll have to see. The business that I do, even a good rumor is good. It's good for us and our sales. So I'm totally here for it. Anyway, I want to get into the subject of this video, which is a pick and prediction for the Orange Bowl game, which is the playoff semifinals. But before I get into that, make sure that you click the thumbs up on this video and make sure you subscribe to this channel too. If you're new around here, stay true around here while you're at it. We have a heck of a good time here talking college football all year long. We do a live call-in show on Wednesday nights and Sunday nights, and that's really fun as well. You should join us tonight. We'll be doing it here live at 9 o'clock on this channel. Notre Dame and Penn State. This is a very short line in this game. 1 point right now. Notre Dame is favored over Penn State with over-under in this game of 45. When you look at just these two, if you didn't know anything about them this year, you look at that and say, good grief, Notre Dame and Penn State, what a couple of wet farts. I mean, you would think that, I don't know, you're back in 1989, you're at your grandpa's house, you smell mothballs and Bengay, and you just look at old uniforms, old teams, everything about them looks old, right? It looks like wallpaper and a 1972 Chevy. Now, I'm telling you, these teams are anything but that this year, especially Penn State. They are really, really good offensively, more so than they have been at any time under James Franklin. And Notre Dame is a really good offensively as well. Now, this is kind of a point of contention, and that this is why I lean a certain way in this game. Notre Dame is really, really good at running the ball. I got a 1,000-yard running back in Jeremiah Love. Jadarian Price is another running back there who's gone for about 800 yards. Love can literally score from anywhere on the field. And this guy's got some damn moves. I don't know if you saw the game against Army back at the beginning of November, but he literally hurdled a couple of Army players and just kind of waltzed into the end zone, landed on both feet like he hadn't even done it. And on that first touchdown they scored there in that game. So really good player there. The issue with Notre Dame is the throw game. They don't have one. Normally Notre Dame has that big possession tight end who can block, who can clear up a lot of ground, who can catch the ball for them. They don't have that this year. Their leading wide receiver only has 400 and something yards, that being Bo Collins, the Clemson transfer. I mean, this cat probably had more receiving yards than that last year at Clemson, and they were having a down year offensively. Notre Dame, I think, if that run starts getting shut down by Penn State, which is very possible, Penn State has a really stingy run defense. Just ask Ashton Jeanty about it. I told you Ashton Jeanty would barely get over 100 yards. I think Ashton Jeanty had like 103 yards rushing in the game against Boise State last week, almost rendering him useless in that game. If they do that to Notre Dame, I don't see how Notre Dame is going to be able to push the ball down the field vertically. Riley Leonard does not have good numbers in the throw game, and like I said, they just don't have a big play target at receiver or tight end like they've had in the past there. When you look at Penn State, as I said, really good defensively, really solid against the run. That's going to help them out tremendously against Notre Dame. And they can hurt you in a number of different ways. Drew Aller he's not the most dynamic quarterback I've seen, but he's very efficient. I think 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions on the year. Tyler Warren, the tight end, this guy is just a freak. He's like 6'6", 250 pounds. I mean, he can run the ball. He's played center. I mean, he'll line up at receiver. He'll line up at tight end. He can block his ass off. I mean, just a really, really good player. And over 1,000 yards receiving on the year. You don't see that from a tight end. Not unless they're as versatile as one such as Tyler Warren. Got 2 NFL running backs there in Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. Both of them have almost the same exact amount of rushing yards, and I think one has 9 touchdowns, one has 8. Now Singleton does have over 300 yards receiving out of the backfield, while Allen only a little over 100. So if there's anything that kind of separates the two, it would be those receiving yards there. But I really think that Penn State, if they get stopped running the ball, then they can start moving it up top. Bottom line is, I trust Penn State being able to adjust to getting stopped by Notre Dame, then I trust Notre Dame to be able to move the ball or more than I trust them when they're getting stopped by Penn State. If they stop getting stopped on the run, I just don't know how they're going to be able to move the football. So to me, this one's pretty simple. I'm taking Penn State here to cover, and I'm taking them to win this game. I like Penn State. It's my second favorite team outside of the Gamecocks. Now, I mean, the distance between those two, it's not like I like the Gamecocks just a little bit more than I like Penn State. Penn State's just kind of a thing that I've adopted since 2017, which was the first year I ever went to Pennsylvania. We've went up there every single year, save 2023, on some type of vacation at some point during the season. So I really like the state of Pennsylvania. I like Penn State, but I mean the love for the Gamecocks is so much greater that words really couldn't describe that. But I do like Penn State. Would make me happy to see them win this ball game. And I think that in terms of intangibles, I think they have the coaching advantage here. And that's not really a slight at Marcus Freeman. This is his third year as head coach, and his only head coaching job. James Franklin has been a head coach now for, I want to say, about 15 years. He was at Vanderbilt for 3 or 4 seasons before he went to Penn State in 2014. So he's been around. This guy's really, really experienced, really good coach. He just has not been able to win the big one yet. I mean, it's just eluded him. And even though he's in the playoffs and he's in the semifinals, one would think, well, he definitely won the big one this year, didn't he? Well, no, he hadn't really. He didn't win the big one yet. They lost at home to Ohio State and won a game when both teams were ranked in the top 5 in a game that Penn State, quite frankly, should have won. And then lost the Big Ten championship game to Oregon. I believe that was 45-37 a few weeks ago. Now, Penn State could have actually potentially ended up making the playoffs without ever even playing in that Big Ten championship game. They wouldn't have that extra loss there. Although I think they gained some big game experience there against Oregon in that one. And they know what it feels like to come up short. They know 2 times now what it feels like to come up short in a big game. At least this year's group does. Maybe the 3rd time's the charm for them. Maybe they're able to win this one. As I said, they would not have been in that Big Ten championship game if it were not for Ohio State losing their game to Michigan at home in the final game of the regular season. Now, Notre Dame, of course, doesn't play in a conference. Their schedule has been, criticized for being kind of weak. But you kind of look at Notre Dame and who are their biggest wins? Texas A&M, I guess, on the road was a pretty good win. It was A&M's only loss on the season for a good portion of it. A win at home against Louisville when Louisville was a ranked team was a good win. And then the wins against the service academies. I almost said the losses. The wins against the service academies, Army and Navy, when each one of those respective teams was undefeated. Both are really good wins. Say what you want to about Navy and their talent level versus Notre Dame's talent level and vice versa. Those teams, they come to play. They come focused. They come ready to play when they play. And when they have a team that's as good as those respective units were that this year for those two teams, they can be very, very difficult to beat. And Notre Dame beat both of those teams. They disposed of both of them with the greatest of ease. Covered the spreads in both of them and made both those teams kind of look silly. I think those wins are more impressive than a lot of people actually do. So, and I look at Penn State, what's their biggest win on the year? You can point to several. They had a home win against Illinois. I believe Illinois was ranked at the time. Good road win against USC, 33-30, in a comeback fashion there. It's a home win against, or actually road win against a ranked Minnesota team. So, one could almost argue that Notre Dame has bigger wins this season than what Penn State does. Penn State's schedule in terms of the Big Ten, outside of the game at Ohio State, it's not really been that brutal. Also picked up a big win at Wisconsin. They blew them out. Now, I know Wisconsin was not that good of a team this year, but still going on the road to Wisconsin and road grading them by over 20 points is still a good win, regardless of that fact. So I still think Notre Dame may have done a few more impressive things on the schedule this year in terms of the teams that they played, but I'm still going to go with Penn State in this game. A lot of people are on the Irish. Look like about 65% of the public money is on the Notre Dame team. I'm going to go the other way. I'm taking Penn State to cover. I'm taking them on the money line. I'm taking them to win this game. The over-under is 45. I think that we could see it over in this game also. So, by the way, good weather, too, for this game in Miami. It's supposed to be in the high 60s tomorrow night and clear skies. So, no threat of winter weather in Miami, as there usually is not. So, that's my thoughts on tomorrow night's Orange Bowl game, playoff semifinal between Notre Dame and Penn State. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later on. Appreciate it. Peace, and I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Woo!